Hey guys, and welcome back to How to Code Basic, and welcome back to this tutorial on how to make a chat application where the user is talking with the JavaScript code. So last time where we left off is we had empty style tags and we had a tiny little script that controlled the chat button. So now what we're going to do is, like I said earlier, we're going to need to make a background page. But first, I want to annotate this piece of code that we have so far because it's already starting to look a little bit complicated. So to do that, I'm going to use comments. Now, for those of you who do not know what comments are, they are not read by the machine or the browser. They're only read by human beings. And this is how you type a comment. First, you do the left arrow, you do an exclamation mark, and you do 2 dashes. That's going to be the start tag for your comment. The end tag is going to be 2 more dashes and a right arrow. Since I'm using Visual Studios, it's going to auto-complete it for me. So here, I'm going to go ahead and write in pop-up. So like I said earlier, what we're going to do is we're going to have a background page that's going to say something like my first application or my first chatting application. It's going to have a little text that says click on this button, and then it's going to have a button that actually turns on the pop-up, or it makes the pop-up pop up. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and make a background page. So I'm going to make another comment and type in background page so that I can know which one's a background page and which one's the pop-up. So here I'm going to, no, I don't think I actually need a div ID. I'll just start. So I'll make an H1 that says my first chatting application. And then I'll go ahead and make a P or a paragraph element that reads click on the button below to run my application. And now, of course, we have to create that button below. Again, I'm going to use button and span. And then my chatting application. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and underneath this button, you can go ahead and put some text or a paragraph element that tells you what this does or how to use the application. But I'm not going to do that because I need to keep it simple. So far, this is what our website looks like, right? What we need to do is since I have problems with making websites look beautiful, or at least I try, I like centering everything. So I'm going to go ahead and finally start my CSS. So this is our body tag right here. To access any tags in HTML using CSS, you just write the text inside the tag. That's all you do. You do a space, 2 curly brackets, press enter, and then right here you're going to write the style. So I want text align. And actually, on second thought, I don't want to do body because then that'll also center the pop-up. So I'll just go ahead and really quickly create a div ID bg-page, and then I'll go ahead and complete the div right here. And since I have to make all of my code legible, I am going to go ahead and indent all of these by hand. Okay, so instead of body, I'm going to go ahead and replace this with bg-page. In order to access any IDs, you have to use a hashtag. And then you type the code inside here. So in my case, text align is center. And then semicolons, just like JavaScript. So it pretty much looks like a JavaScript function, kind of, without the parentheses and the word function and the hashtag. So, okay. Now what I need to do is I need to go ahead and remove this pop-up. So I'm not going to delete it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide it. So the only way to get to the pop-up is to click this button right here. And now in order to hide it, I have to again access it using CSS. And then there's this command called display where you can control the display. And everything once in HTML is set to default at first. So we're going to go ahead and change that because the default is block. Now display block means that, like right here, all of these are display block. This right here is a display block. What it means is that it's there, nothing more. It's like a big block, nothing else. It's just there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and change that to none. So now when I go ahead and refresh, remember this? It's not there anymore. Instead, now it's centered because we did the text align center. And then now that display is none. Now when we click on this button, nothing's happening because we don't have any code behind that button. So we can go ahead and close these style tags for now. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another script, actually, instead of putting everything in the same script tag. Now these script tags are going to control the pop-up. So I am going to go ahead and put in another comment that says handling the pop-up. So I need to grab the pop-up first. So var pop-up equals just like we did last time with the document.getElementById, we need to go ahead and access the document, and then we need to go ahead and get the element by ID, and our ID is pop-up. Oh, now I remember how. Okay. So now that we have the pop-up ID, we need to go ahead and grab the button. So we need to go ahead and add an ID to this button. I'm going to go ahead and name it starter because that's its primary function, which is to start our main application. So var starter space equals to document dot get element by ID. So now what we can do, now that we have this, we can use the starter.onClick equals function. And now we don't have to name this type of function because it's not an actual function because it's being called when we click. But we could put a function in here, but I'm just going to put in the actual code. So now using JavaScript, you can control CSS. It's not actually that tricky. What you do is you first get the document, get element by ID. So we already have that pop-up. Now you press dot, and then we want to access style, right? So that style right here, pop-up dot style dot, and then we want to change the display from none to block, right? So what we're going to do is popup.style.display equals block. And since this is again one line of code, semicolon goes there. So now what we have is, when you refresh, you're supposed to have couple lines of code, or a couple lines of text, a button. Click on that button and it pops up. Voila! Well, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I tried to make it short, but it wasn't. Okay, goodbye now.